Hello, and welcome to another episode of Break the Cycle with me, your host, Joshua Smith. Hope everyone is having a wonderful Tuesday. I got the day right this time. I'm not that crazy flattened out like I was when I got home from Boston on the last show. Then we had some computer issues, so we had to miss some shows. I've been trying to reschedule this show for, over a week now, I think, and thankfully we got it going. I still don't know why I got these black bars around the side of my video. I had got them like skinnier somehow, and then they got bigger again, and I don't know what's going on, if it's my camera or StreamYard or what. So if anybody's got any good information about why that's happening to me, I would love for you to message me and tell me. But guys, we've got a great show for you tonight, I promise you. But let's start off with some sponsors. Of course, we have TopLobster.com, the man, the myth, the legend, my good friend and partner on Break the Cycle, where you can get this great Ron Paul getting high on the Ideas of Liberty shirt that you're seeing me wear tonight by using BTC at checkout for a 10% discount. Or you can join the Patreon, subscribe star, or become a member of the YouTube channel under all my videos by hitting the join link, where you can get into the private Discord server with an awesome community of people, like just amazing people, and get all of Top Lobster's new gear up to 2 weeks before it goes to the general public at like a 30% discount. So really good discounts if you're one of the smaller tier patrons or something like that, $5 a month or whatever, and you're buying Top Lobster's new gear, you're really getting it for free, man. You know what I mean? So good stuff. And of course, executive producers of the show, anthemplanning.com, for all your emergency and crisis planning needs. Check them out today. See what they can do for your business, home, or personal life. They're doing a wonderful job that the government has historically sucked at, much cheaper and much more efficiently. Seriously, as soon as you guys are done with this show, go check out anthemplanning.com. If you own a business, or your family owns a business, or you know somebody who owns a business, I promise you they will find a way to help you and make everything right in your life. Guys, let's see. The Road to Providence. What's up, David Brady? Thanks for checking in, man. Can't wait for Reno, man. I'm hyped to make you vice chair. Thanks, dude. I'm going to need all of the Meacocks front and center for that. If you guys don't know, my old board has chosen somebody else to run for vice chair that I don't believe represents the Mises Caucus. I don't believe that they represent the rank and file members of the caucus that have been around for many, many years, myself included. And it's not that I have any personal issues with this person. It's all as far as representation goes. I don't think that's the person we want to put up. So I'm running, and if you want to support me, I'd love for anybody who's a Mises Caucus state organizer to hit me up. I'll do a Zoom call with your state members, and we'll talk about why you guys should vote for me in Reno. I think it'll be a good idea. But guys, show tonight is going to be great. I've been following this guy for a while. He's savage when it comes to the Assange stuff. He's got a great show called Slow News Day. He is Steve Poikonen. I think I said that right, and you're muted. You're muted.
You did, and thank you. And it's wonderful to be here. I'm glad we could get together and do this, man. Yeah. And I'm sorry about the hiccups with your box.
Hey, man, shit happens, and it sucks because I do like doing the show 5 nights a week. Like it's actually fun for me doing the show 5 nights a week. But we just, we went to Disney World for 8 days, and then we came home, and then we had some stuff going on in the house, and then we got sick, and then I went to Boston, and then the computer issues, and it's like, fuck, man, it never stops. I want to get back to doing 5 shows a week.
I do 5 shows a week right now. If I could, I would do like 3 hours in the morning and then nothing else. Just go and do whatever the hell I want to do.
Absolutely.
I have the resources for that, working on it.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's what I keep telling my listeners, man. If you guys you sign up for the Patreon and all that shit, and this becomes my full-time job, I'm gonna be doing man on the street shit in the afternoons. I'm gonna be doing news in the morning. You know what I mean? It's gonna be a whole fucking day-long channel. So hopefully we'll get there eventually, man. I really do hope so. But let's talk about you, dude. We talked a little bit before the show. Of course, we're going to get into the stuff about your show. We're going to talk about Assange, but I want to know about you personally, man. How'd you come to these ideas of liberty and this great anarchist thought?
So I grew up in Indiana. I'm 43 years old. So I grew up a kid in the 80s, a teenager in the 90s, and I was very, very fortunate to have some older friends in my life, and we had real hip hop and real punk rock and real LSD. And I had Coast to Coast AM with Art Bell. The book Behold a Pale Horse by Bill Cooper came out in 1992. I think I was handed a copy of it in like late 1993. So like 15 years old and black pill basically. I traveled for like most of my late teens throughout my 20s. So I'm just, I have seen nearly nearly every conceivable way to live, at least in this country and in a handful of others. And I've experienced a number of different outcomes d- based on those different circumstances from the state and from the government. So what I concluded fairly early on uh, was that the one consistent in politics is if a politician is talking, they are lying,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
and,
Absolutely.
and that really, because anarchy is a relationship, and it's not but like a locality or really an ism, it's a relationship. Um, And that relationship is simply, you have no authority over me. I have no authority over you. And at no point either of us are going to use a monopoly on violence to assert authority over each other. But hopefully we can, either work our stuff out or go away and not. It seems to be a more logical, humane way of existing. So I've tried to put forth those ideas.
Sure, absolutely, man. I agree with you. I think we probably have some a little differences when it comes to coming to the thought, but I'm sure we agree on most things. But I found Ron Paul after getting out of the military, and he just fucked me all up, man. I mean, I was like, look, I was like, man, these wars are pretty fucked up, dude. Like, I don't like this war stuff, And then I found Ron Paul, and he's like, blow back this, and you guys are doing this, and you're a bunch of evil people, and I'm like, holy shit, dude, this guy is perfect. You know what I mean? And so if you're, I consider myself an anarchist. Obviously, I work in the political game as well. I use it as a tool. Unfortunately, I get called not a real anarchist quite a bit, but that's okay. I'm okay with that. You know what I mean? But so let's talk about the show, dude. You got this show, Slow News Day. You're doing as much time as you can, 5 days a week, man. I checked out some episodes recently. It was great, dude. I'm a big fan of the talk about political prisoners, specifically, especially the Assange case. But why'd you start the show? What's the show mean to you, brother?
So there's, in my opinion, in the independent media space writ large, especially the massive platforms, largely what you get out of these channels is a react channel instead of news.
Sure.
And what they do is they take a mainstream clip and they wag their finger at it and they tell you what they think their audiences wants to hear about it. And that's essentially supposed to pass as news for like millions and millions and millions of people. And so there's a super wide lane for anyone who wants to approach journalism from a space of, like, I suppose, activism. If you're going to be a free speech enthusiast or a free press enthusiast, it's basically doing activist journalism. That your job should be making the people who don't want to be household names.
Right.
That's what real information via this medium should be doing. If you're coming at it from any kind of a geopolitical or national security lens, and that's what we do. And then I have people on the show who are smarter than me, and I ask them questions, and we have a conversation about things. And it's not like a typical, interview format where I've got a list of questions and I don't ask follow-ups and shit like that. It's actually, it's a lot of fun. And I think you get way more out of people.
I think my entire show is having people on that are smarter than me. I mean, that's literally what I do. You know what I mean? Like, if it wasn't for them, I'd just be staring at the camera going, hey guys, how you doing? Let's talk about my sponsors. And then that would be it. You know what I mean? No, I enjoy, I did do an Ask Me Anything show recently where I let my viewers kind of ask me some questions and shit. That was a lot of fun, man. I enjoyed that. I got to start doing those more often for sure. But let's talk about Assange, dude. So it was recently released that Assange had a stroke before, and I think a lot of people are kind of getting it twisted, thinking that he just had this stroke like recently, like right before his extradition or whatever. Can you talk a little bit more about this? You've been really paying attention to all this shit, man. I mean, what's going on with the stroke stuff?
So before his October 27th court date, Julian Assange suffered a stroke. The only change in his day-to-day routine, per his family, and per the Belmarsh physicians, The only change in his day-to-day routine or medically is that under objection, he was given one of the mRNA gene therapy.
I fucking knew it.
And then immediately, his father has confirmed this in an interview with a French outlet. The interview came out in November, but the reason for administering the shot was because he was scheduled to be in person in court. And so suffered a stroke. Again, just before October 27th, the public found out about it immediately after the U.S. went ahead and granted the extradition process on November 3rd, 4th, something like that. December 3rd or 4th.
It's crazy. So there's a lot of speculation about this mRNA vaccine and that he was given it, forcefully given this injection, and maybe that had something to do with him having the stroke and this and that, because he's not very old. I mean, Assange isn't like. He's really
50.
Yeah, he's not really like, unless you have really bad habits, he's not really stroke age, dude. You know what I mean?
No. And I can say with confidence, because I've developed like phone relationship with his father and half brother Gabriel. I got to meet and spend couple of weeks with them over the summer when they were in country doing a home run for Julian tour, where two Australians were hanging out in the U.S. explaining how the First Amendment worked to people, because apparently a number of them had forgotten about it. And this is something that we've talked about privately. It's because it's out in public. A little bit more comfortable talking about it. Boy, I was heated for about a month.
I know. You were telling me, you were like, it's probably good that your computer's been shitty on you, because I'm fucking fired up, dude. I'm mad. And I get it, dude. Anybody look, I've had some people on my show that have had wild theories about Assange, and even if Assange wasn't a honeypot, the government would need someone like Assange to honeypot. But I think as Assange. Has anybody ever fact-checked Assange and said anything that he's ever put out wasn't truth? Ever?
They remain the only outlet to maintain a 100% accuracy rating when it comes to publishing material of that nature. That they've been in court since jump, man. I mean, they've got legal teams in basically every country, or at least every continent. And it's a constant battle where throughout WikiLeaks' entire existence, they've gone to court because somebody's like, oh, we can bury him on this. No, you can't, because it's
true. And that's
actual truth.
Yeah. I've obviously been a fan of WikiLeaks for a long time. I've been checking out WikiLeaks and WikiLeaks. So surprisingly enough, as somebody who works in the Libertarian Party, right? WikiLeaks, they produced this list of people that they considered to be high-level assets from, was it Stratfor? You remember that? Do you remember when they released that? And and on that list, one of the names was Nicholas Sarwark, who happened to be the chairman of the Libertarian Party National Committee. And when that came out, he explained it away as well, my brother-in-law got me a subscription to their magazine for a year, and that's why my address and name were on there. And I'm like, I'm thinking back, and I'm like, dude, WikiLeaks released this saying they know for a fact that this was a list of high-level operatives working for this contractor who, are either either they work directly for them or they're compromised in some fashion. And he explained it away, and everyone was just like, oh. And for a long time, dude, I was like, okay, well, we don't have any other proof, so I get it, Then I fucking got elected to that board, dude. I became an at-large representative for the board. And I worked with that man for 2 years. And I can tell you with almost, I'd probably say 95% certainty that this man is an operative of some sort, or he is compromised. His family is compromised, something. I mean, nobody would join a party. First of all, John Brennan went on national television and said that all libertarians are domestic terrorists, okay? That includes this party, right? We're libertarians. Nobody's going to join that party and put out the blue-pilled bullshit that he's been had been putting out for a long time, and not be some kind of chaos agent trying to, fool the public into thinking this was something else. And then I started looking at his track record of where it came from. He started with the party in Maryland. Seems a little sketch. Became the vice chair of Maryland, moved to Colorado, became the chair of Colorado, moved to Arizona, and became the chairman of the national committee, dude. This is crazy.
No, that's fascinating because that's the exact same route. I just tweeted this interview out earlier today randomly that the Green Party went when they went and like completely rigged their primary and screwed over their entire base and like made all those hippies fucking, weep for a little bit. And now it's like 3 people that run the entire party, and they've got a magazine, or at least one of them has a magazine and a foundation and a nonprofit, and it all has fucking Open Society or National Endowment for Democracy funding. And it's wild, dude. The Soros money contingent completely captured the Green Party. I have a buddy who activist out of Baltimore, and he was like, fuck it, I'll run, try and run as a Green. And he tried to go through that process. And oh man, he just got stamped out. And I would have supported him because he's a friend. Instead, I ended up being a delegate for Adam Kokesh because also a friend. But I will occasionally register for a party if a personal friend of mine is running for president and they ask me to,
Sure. Yeah.
That's it.
And I'm a friend of Adam Kokesh personally as well. I actually
love that.
Yeah, in 20 when I was running for chairman against Nick Sarwark in 2018, I was on Adam's bus for 2 weeks. We went all over the fucking from Ohio to West Virginia to North Carolina to he took me to this thing called Elf Fest in rural Indiana out in the fucking yeah, dude, it was nuts. And we ate mushroom chocolates and hung out with a bunch of fucking commie hippies that were naked, and it was wild, dude. And then we went to the Omaha Roads to Freedom Convention in Illinois, I think, as well. So we fucking drove all over the place. And Adam's got a lot of people who dislike Adam, right? There's a lot of people
I know.
there. Yeah. But Adam, if you know Adam on a human level and have hung out with Adam in person, he's a nice guy. And now I get it that he's done some things that people are mad about here and there, and I get it, but I did have fun with Adam, and he seemed like a really cool guy. He was always really nice to me.
Yo, dude, all of the shit that people are mad at Adam for happened 2 presidents ago, and Adam has gone through entire fucking worlds of
he's like a different person these days, dude. For sure.
I didn't know him, but I knew of him, ran into him a few times, back in the Occupy days, Winter Soldiers, shit like that.
Oh, sure.
And then I think he was doing something with Cynthia McKinney.
I remember when he was doing that. Yeah.
And then when I started doing Assange activism, I used to co-host the Free Assange Vigil there for a couple of years. And Adam was on pretty regularly, and we connected again. And I do, man. I got nothing but love for the guy. He's been through hell. He's fucking grown a fuck ton. And if you would want any courtesy from any human being, it's hard to argue around his politics or his ideas. So you kind of have to attack his character, and that's disingenuous as shit, dude. The guy's got his fucking arm broken trying to fucking defend defend your principles, defend your ability to do this shit.
Sure. And I'll tell you, I don't talk a lot. I have talked about it on the show before, but Ron Paul was really the reason I got involved in politics, and the reason why I did what I did and eventually became what I became. But Adam Kokesh videos were what made me really fucking hyped up about being an activist. I mean, watching him dance at the Jefferson Memorial, man, that was a big fucking deal to me, dude. You know what I mean? Back then, that was a long time ago too. I mean, we're talking more than a decade ago now, I think. So.
Yeah, and I mean, look, there's really isn't. I mean, maybe you could look at like what they tried to do with Obama, or what they tried to do with Bernie Sanders, and to a degree, a bunch of those idiots fell for it, but it didn't give them any foundation. And I feel like everybody that's come through the Ron Paul revolution came out of it with a little bit more of a framework for how to survive being a human
True.
and how to move like individually among a group in society, whereas the larger left movements were so dependent on with fairy dust that like nothing ever fucking,
Sure.
you can't build a foundation if like the concrete that you're using is actually sawdust. It doesn't work. It doesn't. It's just not how that shit works.
Yeah, it was weird for me because I have a really good friend named Patrick Smith. I'm sure if you're familiar, Disenthrall, and he does a lot of stuff with Anarcho Polko, and they are at big time odds. And so it's always been strange to me, you know what I mean? Because I love them both. I've stayed at Patrick Smith's house and I met his children, and he's a fucking wonderful human too. And I know he doesn't get along with a bunch of my other friends like Pete Quinones and Dave Smith and these people. And so it's a weird place for me to be in, dude. It's like I like all you guys. Just leave me alone.
I mean, look, there's only lately and only in very certain settings have I ever witnessed that many egos getting along.
Sure.
So it's going to happen. I mean, the LPs were a very specific type of ego gravitates towards, so like you're going to butt heads. That's going to happen. People are going to have different ideas. If what you want out of that is more Americans understanding libertarian principles, you usually put that shit aside. Sometimes people are incapable. Sometimes people can't grow the fuck up. Sometimes just people aren't gonna fucking mesh.
Yeah, and it's gonna happen, especially in a movement that everyone's pushing for liberty, and everyone's got a different fucking idea about what liberty is and what their own personal life should look like. And so I get it, dude. I mean, it's, for me, it's like, I just want my kids and I to fucking have a couple acres of land and homeschool and fucking grow tomatoes and pot and everyone leave us alone. Like that's all I want. You know what I mean? But I can't get there if I'm not fighting this horrendous, overreaching government. I mean, I'm never going to get there. And so, that's where I've been at. Well, what's up, Magnus? Thanks for hopping in. He said you're the legend, bro.
Magnus. Hey.
Shout out to Jackman Radio. What's up, buddy? If you're familiar with Eric Jackman, he dropped $5. Yeah, he dropped a $5 super chat. Rock and roll, boys. Merry Christmas. Keep up the great work. Much love from New Hampshire. Much love to New Hampshire. I visited there recently. Man, I fucking love that place, dude. It's great.
I think next year I'm gonna try and get out for Porkfest, and then my friend Mark Steves, who does the booking for Sam Tripoli and has a great show called My Family Thinks I'm Crazy. It's a great name for a podcast.
Yeah, that is a good one. That's way better than the thing about boners. I don't know why. I saw someone say that they wanted to name their podcast The Thing About Boners, and now I can't ever forget that. I think that's the best podcast name.
That bell's never getting unrung. never. But I think he's thinking about doing like a truth community, conspiracy community festival, like the weekend after Porkfest.
Nice.
Like same location and everything. So
well, I will be at fucking Porkfest this year. I mean, there's no doubt about it. I'll be there. I missed this last year, unfortunately. I got 7 kids. Everyone drink. I know they play a drinking game. When I mentioned my 7 kids, everybody in the chat drinks. But I had 7 kids, so I couldn't like just get away for that little amount of time. I had a bunch of other shit I had to do, and so I couldn't go. And I will not be missing it this next year. There's no fucking way, dude. It's one of the coolest things in the country, probably, in my opinion.
I mean, it looks like it. Yeah, it really does. I haven't been able to make it out to. I've been in fucking California for 16 years. Yeah. Like it's, I travel for activism. I travel for the Assange stuff, or I got to go speak at something. But like, really, it's, I have children. It is living in California. That shit is not cheap.
What part of I'm from California. I just moved to Iowa 2 years ago. What part are you from?
So I spent 15 years in the Santa Cruz Mountains.
Oh shit,
and,
nice.
Now I'm in Central California for a little bit, trying to figure out like the easiest way to escape.
Yeah, Santa Cruz is like one of my favorite cities in the country. It's kind of hidden away. I mean, people know about Santa Cruz, but it's still it like doesn't feel super touristy every time you go there. You know what I mean?
Can I tell you something?
Yeah, sure.
Don't ever go back. Just hold on to that. Just hold on.
Has it gotten real bad? Has it gotten rough?
Keep it pure in your heart, my friend. Don't go.
I used to love it, dude. I used to fucking love it. But I'm from the Bay Area, so I'm from right outside of Oakland.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I've been there quite a bit.
Northeast, which bay?
I'm from the East Bay. I'm from Antioch.
Okay.
From Antioch. I grew up in Antioch. I lived in Oakland for a long time too. I lived in Santa Rosa for a while in the North Bay as well. I've all over the Bay, but I am from the Bay. I mean, born and raised. I was born in Antioch, California, man.
Right on.
Yeah.
Right on. I know it. I do. You're stoked you're in Iowa. That's all I got.
It's fucking cold, dude. It's cold, bro.
It is.
But
it is. I grew up in Indiana.
Oh,
I grew up in central Indiana. The town I grew up in, Chris Hedges writes about in his book America the Farewell Tour as an example of what happens to GM towns in the Midwest. Like,
yeah,
I mean, yeah, great place to grow up. Now it's like, I mean, it was until NAFTA. But now it's like churches, a racetrack, and Nestle plant and meth labs, and like that's the whole fucking thing.
Yeah, I'm happy to be in Iowa, man. It's fucking cold, but if you've ever watched the TV show Portlandia, I'm sure a lot of people here know about it, and they talk about the dream of the 90s being alive, in Portland. I moved to Portland in 2012. I lived there for 7 years. The dream of the 90s died in those 7 years while I was there. It's not like that anymore. It's just like fucking California. It's super expensive, and you got to deal with 280 days of the year rain, right? So I moved to Iowa, and I'll tell you, the dream of the 90s is still fucking alive in Iowa. You could buy 4 acres and a 5-bedroom house for under $300,000 here. It's insane, dude. Yeah. But you got to snow blow your driveway, dog. You know what I mean? It's rough.
I'm looking a little bit further south. I'm looking a little bit more mountainous because it's just like where I feel more at home.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, dude, there's still places you can pick up at Tennessee, and a couple of places in Kentucky. Hey, there's super cheap land in Kentucky right now.
Oh yeah, dude, Kentucky. Yeah, no shit. Fucking A. We got a tornado warning for tomorrow for the kids. All the kids are getting out of school at 2:00 in the afternoon. I guess we got severe weather, but we're in Iowa, dude. I mean, people in Iowa are just like, yeah, we get tornadoes, whatever. It's fucking. I'm just like, I'm from California. I'm like, what do you mean? It's just like we get tornadoes. Yeah, it's just we get tornadoes. Yeah. It's normal. I'm like, well,
and then in California, people are like, yeah, we just get earthquakes. And
yeah,
you're like,
exactly.
What the fuck do you mean? The ground is breaking apart underneath.
You're like, no, it's normal. It's fucking normal. Yeah. If you were here in '89, you'd know. No, it's funny because I try to explain earthquakes to people out here, and I'm like, yeah, dude, your computer chair will just roll across the room, and you're just like, whatever, another earthquake. You're just used to it. It just happens. You know what I mean? It's not scary until something like Loma Prieta hits, and then you're fucked. You know what I mean? That's scary shit. But that's a whole different kind of earthquake.
My ex-wife grew up. She was 9 years old when the earthquake happened, and she grew up like basically on Loma Prieta. She was on San Jose, SoCal, like right on the other side of 17. And yeah, dude, yeah,
it was scary. I remember I was 6, so when it happened, and I was in the East Bay, and I remember, the East Bay, Antioch wasn't super. It's not close. I mean, it's about an hour away from Loma Prieta, and it shook half the water out of the in-ground pool in our backyard at the babysitter's house. Dude,
that's the Bay Bridge.
Yeah, it was fucking nuts. And my mom had just gotten off the Bay Bridge. That shit happened. Yeah. And she said she didn't even realize there was an earthquake going on because she was behind a semi truck. And so she just thought it was the semi, and she's driving on the freeway. Yeah, that shit, the freeway caught fire. There was fires fucking everywhere. Bay Bridge dropped, buildings dropped. I mean, it was scary shit, dude. Loma Prieta was a scary earthquake, and they haven't had anything in California that bad since, but it's destined for another.
Yeah.
So, good luck.
Yeah.
Godspeed.
Right. Hey, look, man, I got a 2-year plan max. I'm hoping to accelerate it.
Yeah, everybody's getting the fuck out of California, dude. I mean, you can't. It's unlivable, dude.
It really is. It really is. Like, there's a couple of counties that have been holding out. The county that my kids live in was like the one that was openly defying the Newsom school mask mandate. Sure. And there it was. But I mean, you're still paying California prices for everything. We're hitting hyperinflation here right now.
Yeah, apparently, and they've been hitting it. I mean, it's been happening for months. That's not new. I mean, when I left California, I was
$6 a gallon for
dude,
regular milk.
Yeah, it's insane. I was telling people that when I left 2 years ago, right? I actually left. I left out of SFO 5 minutes before they started the 24-hour lockdown in San Francisco, bro. I mean, literally in March last year, gone. I was out with one suitcase, and I was trying to tell people, I was like, motherfuckers are renting bedrooms out there for like $1,600 a month, renting bedrooms, dude.
Yeah,
it's insane.
No, in Boulder Creek, the Santa Cruz County where I lived, after 2010, it started to become unlivable. But when I moved out of there for a like 2-bedroom with a little extra half room that wasn't really a bedroom that we called a bedroom anyway, we were paying $2,000 and we were getting away cheap. The average 2-bedroom rental in Santa Cruz County was $2,800 a month.
Oh yeah.
That's before gas to go to fucking put in your truck to go to work. Like
the sales tax, the property tax, fucking. I mean, it's you get taxed a minimum of 50% of everything that you fucking make in California, on top of the insane prices to live there, to shop there, to anything. I mean, it's insane, dude. It's almost unlivable, man. I was making a pretty good living. I mean, $80,000 a year, and it was scraping by, dude. Now I'm in Iowa. I make $2 an hour more than when I did in California, and I'm a sole provider for 9 people. It's insane, dude. Insane.
Yeah, no, it's really like that. It's really like that. When people talk about how there's multiple different Americas, they haven't even factored in that part yet.
Insane, dude. Hey, well, so do you have any updates on the Adam Kokesh stuff? I was following it online. I mean, he got bailed out. They got the dogs, all that good stuff.
Yeah, as far as I know, like the only thing they have to deal with now is whenever he has to go back to court.
Sure. I was looking at the charge. Did they get him from fucking mushrooms, really, in Colorado?
They're gonna try to get him for possession with intent to distribute, but I don't think that's gonna land.
Adam doesn't sell mushrooms. He's not a mushroom dealer.
No, he's not. He will give them away though.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Me and him eat these like handmade mushroom chocolates. Fuck, dude. It's crazy. It was a good time, though. I had a fun time. It was him and Marcus, if you're familiar with Marcus. And Marcus is the one that lives in Indiana, and he's the one that got us to Elf Fest. And, man, I'll never forget that time. They had a big bonfire in this, like, Thunderdome shit. It was wild, dude. Wild shit.
Way back, like mid-90s, I threw a couple of music festivals in Indiana with a few knuckleheads, dude, and it was great. We had like leftover salmon come through there, and
yes, I mean, dude,
yeah, bunch of alleged recreational pharmacists with a whole lot of cash that wasn't, gonna get spent any other way. To fuck it, throw a music festival.
Yeah, why not, dude? Why not, man? So what's going on with Assange, man? Let's get back on track here. We had a good talk about how shitty it is to live in California, but what's going on with Assange? What's next for Julian?
So his legal team has till I think the 23rd to file an appeal. The 10th, which ironically was Human Rights Day. A high court, the highest judge in England and Wales, a guy named Ian Burnett, ruled against a lower court decision to not extradite Julian Assange. So this judge did rule in favor with like no legal backing whatsoever, quite literally on the assurances of the U.S. government that they swear they're not going to torture the guy once he gets here and put him in special administrative measures in a particular prison where they left themselves a bunch of escape clauses and a bunch of loopholes. Those are the assurances. No legal designation for approving extradition. Mere assurances from the U.S. government, from the State Department.
They have a good track record.
Yeah. And so that's what the extradition request was granted on. The appeal will fall on the desk of UK Home Secretary Priti Patel, who was instrumental in helping to arrange for Assange's expulsion from the embassy in the first place, illegally, by the way. And it may or may not go forward. If he does get sent to the U.S., which it looks like he may, according to Julian Assange, he will take his own life. If they try to prevent him from doing that, he'll be in the Alexandria Detention Center, Alexandria, Virginia. I have been there. I did a demonstration for Chelsea Manning and Jeremy Hammond about like 2 weeks before the WikiLeaks grand jury got dropped in 2020, and they were both released from that facility. So that was pretty cool. But that's where he would be in the assurances, where they talk about not putting him in special administrative measures, which is fancy for torture and like worse than solitary confinement. If you're at all, like, you want to horrify yourself, if you're listening to this right now, look up Joshua Schultz, Vault 7 whistleblower, alleged Vault 7 whistleblower, and special administrative measures, and see what that guy goes through. He was at the same facility that Julian Assange would be. Chelsea Manning 2 times tried to take her own life at the facility that Julian Assange would be in. So that's kind of what we're dealing with. And at no point in these assurances do they mention Alexandria Detention Center. It's all after the assumption of conviction in espionage court in the Eastern District of Virginia, which does have a 100% conviction rate because it's a kangaroo court.
Of course, yeah. And well, most of the federal courts, I mean, the federal court is just a kangaroo court in general. Anyways, and we've seen that, you know, if you watch my early shows, I did a whole segment about Ross, and Ross. I mean, Ross was touted around the country as someone who tried to commit murder for hire, you know, and created this huge drug circle and ring and all this shit. And at the end of the day, you realize he's a fucking coder who dealt with crypto. And they said all these things about him in the public so they could get him to try and plea. You know what I mean? And then they didn't even let his lawyer litigate the case. I mean, really, at the end of the day, they barred him from really litigating the entire case, and then just threw the key and threw the book at him. I mean, that's what they do in federal court. I don't think people understand that the majority. I mean, probably 99% of the people that have to go any federal charges plea out. I mean, that's what they do.
100%. And Ross is double life plus what? 60?
Yeah, it's double life plus 60 for, I mean, creating an e-commerce site. Really, at the end of the day, that's what he did.
And Julian Assange would be 175 years. He's 50 years old currently,
right?
And you know, facing 175 years. Real quick, in case anybody doesn't know, Julian Assange is being tried under the U.S. Espionage Act of 1917 under 17 separate counts. The Espionage Act is for spies who give government secrets to the enemy.
Right.
Julian Assange is an Australian citizen, not a U.S. citizen, with a publication that's registered out of Iceland, not in the U.S. They were not hosted since 2012 on U.S. servers, or 2011 on U.S. servers, Amazon servers, which has an international web client anyway. But they're trying to try him for giving government secrets to the enemy. He's a publisher. That would make you and me the enemy.
It'd make all of us the enemy. Yeah, absolutely.
Yes. So the U.S. government is effectively saying in this case, the public is the enemy. Julian Assange is a spy for printing, publishing verifiably accurate information that exposed war crimes, waste, fraud, abuse, torture, and not just from the U.S. government, from multiple other world governments, from the corporations that facilitate and provide the armaments for further war crimes and perpetual, endless empire expansion. And that's the greatest sin you could possibly commit,
right,
in the empire. It's holding a light to it.
Sure, and it's funny to me because Julian and WikiLeaks were releasing all kinds of information for a long time without any kind of recourse really coming their way. And it was all, I mean, yeah, verifiably true, war crimes, stuff like that. But what was it that really set the government off? I mean, I can't really pin it on. Are they using specific examples during this trial?
So he is only on trial for what we would think of as the Manning leaks, the Afghan war logs, the war diaries, Afghan and Iraq war logs and war diaries, Cablegate, the Guantanamo Bay files. These are what he's being tried for, leaks that came out in 2010 and 2011. Absolutely nothing else that WikiLeaks has published is a part of this indictment. However, in 2015, 5 years into a secret grand jury being impaneled to do exactly what's being done to Julian Assange right now. They published all of the information on the Trans-Pacific Partnership. The only reason anybody knows what was in the TPP and what it really meant and what it was going to do to every single sovereign citizen on the planet is because of WikiLeaks. And I think that really, more so than Cablegate, more so than low-level diplomatic cables, that was just embarrassing.
Right.
That's all that was. Embarrassing. It was enough for Hillary Clinton to be like, "Can we drone strike the guy?" But publishing the TPP, then next year.
Hold on. Let's be honest. Everything is enough for Hillary Clinton to want to drone strike somebody. I just want to make that clear.
Indeed, she is kind of an evil, hateful, satanic lizard, like a demon creature. But I mean, and I'm trying to be nice here, Josh.
Yeah, that was the moderate position, buddy.
Yeah. I want that to be perfectly. I am a guest here. I don't want to offend. But she. Again, TPP 2015, 2016 DNC leaks, Podesta emails, 2017. Like, if that wasn't bad enough, he's now 100% in the pocket of both Jerry Lewis and the devil, and also Russia and Vladimir Putin and all this other shit.
Sure.
And in the most surveilled building on the planet, a year into this Russiagate hysteria, he publishes Vault 7,
right,
which is the CIA's hacking tools. And he did that on Mike Pompeo's watch. Mike Pompeo ran arguably the most criminal and paranoid CIA since anybody other than the Dulleses.
Wow. Yeah, he was pissed. He was real mad for sure. No doubt about that. It's wild to me, man. So, like I said, I've read a lot of WikiLeaks stuff, and I've always wondered there's got to be one catalyst there that really pinned him down, and that makes a lot of sense. I mean, it really does. The TPP stuff. I mean, that's got to piss them off and burn them up real bad.
It was their whole, that was the globalist framework that was supposed to usher in UN Agenda 2021 and UN Agenda 2030, and they got pushed years off. And if it feels like the last couple of years have been really, really accelerated and really, really, really stepped up, it's because they got thrown off of their schedule 6 years ago.
Yep.
6.5 years ago. It had to kind of scramble to realign, and got such a blessing in Donald Trump. The powers that be could not have asked for a better puppet than Donald Trump.
Sure.
And
I don't think people understand. Probably there's a lot of people, definitely people watch this show that don't understand what you're talking about. And I get it. You know what I mean? Like, I think that Trump did some good things, like he really red pilled some people on the media, which I think was great. But explain a little bit why you think that he was a great puppet for the powers that be.
In my personal opinion, we don't get to where we are at the precipice of mandates, at the precipice of the fourth industrial revolution, without Donald Trump. Beside the fact that he was a vaccine salesman and a real estate settlement broker for Benjamin Netanyahu in the apartheid state of Israel, he printed $22 trillion since August of 2019. Donald Trump and Steve Mnuchin printed 2/3 of all of the money that the U.S. has ever printed into existence.
How could this be, Steve? How could this be? I was told that he was a conservative through and through, plain and simple. He is definitely not a New York liberal at all.
The reason we're experiencing hyperinflation right now is because of this, John. You can't just, we all know that our money is fake and imaginary. Fiat currency is essentially built on the hopes and dreams of the people and also nuclear weapons. But you can't put $20 trillion into existence, only give it to maybe 800 people in some federal institutions, and expect anything other than a devalued currency with a bunch of entirely angry for justifiable reasons.
Hold on, Steve. I got $2,000 of that money. Okay, I just want you to understand. And now they're with this Build Back Better plan, buddy. They've been giving me $750 a month because of how many kids I have for like 6 months. But here's the kicker: it's actually my child tax credit, right? Given to me over several months before the tax season. And if they go over what they think I'm supposed to have, they'll take it back from me at the end of the year.
Yeah.
And people are going fucking nuts about this shit, Steve. They're like, yeah, I'm getting all this free money from the government. I'm like, you dumb shit. That's your own fucking money.
We tried to tell them that. I don't know if you guys know. So the Slow News Day is part of the larger MCSE network.
Sure.
Nico House, Combo Couchstreams, and they come from a way more left space. And so a lot of the times we end up having conversations about this exact thing. It's trying to explain it to people who just don't like fundamentally pick up basic.
It just blows my mind. It blows my mind. Like let me, cool. I'm getting my own money sooner than I would at the end of the year, but it's still my own fucking money, dude. Like that was my money that I worked for. You
yourself money, and the government put points on it, and you got to pay them to front yourself your own money.
Insane, dude. It's insane. And people are rejoicing about this shit around the country. They're just like, this is the best thing that ever happened to me. And I'm like, you fucking dumb motherfucker. Do you know how shitty that? It's so bad, dude. Like, obviously as a libertarian, I don't think they should be taking it from me anyways. But the fact that they're just giving it back to me and saying, hey, if we overpay you, we're going to take more from you at the end of the year is just baffling to me. Baffling. Like, cool, that $750 is really helpful, but I earned that money. It was mine.
Yeah. No, look, you're not going to get a pro-tax argument from somebody who doesn't think the state should exist.
Yeah.
So
and if you do,
on this.
If you do get an argument in favor of taxes from somebody who's telling you they're anti-state, they're full of fucking shit. Period.
Holy shit.
I love those. Those are my favorite. And it sucks to say this because I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings, but it typically is the left. They're like, oh, we're anarchists, but man, Medicare for all and fucking, we got to have taxes for this shit. I'm like, dude, you're not an anarchist. I'm sorry, you're just not. I'm
not sure if you know how this works.
Yeah, you keep using that word. I don't think you know what that word means, man. I really don't.
Well, their foundational philosophy, like all of this woke bullshit that we're living through now, like modern post-Marxist, post-modernist, like, at the ass end of the Frankfurt School on into Angela Davis and Bell Hooks and Kimberly Crenshaw and all of that stuff. It originates from a German philosopher named Herbert Marcuse, who became like a celebrity philosopher in the 60s and was Angela Davis's mentor, and also worked for the OSS.
Oh, Jesus.
The original CIA. What I am saying, Josh, is that the left's entire philosophy came off of a draft table pre-CIA, and that's why they don't know what they're talking about. They don't make any sense. They have no foundational structure to what they're doing because it's all fucking this Marcusian CIA self-destructive nonsense.
Right. Well, and at some point,
and also Marxism, which is fucking insane.
Right. Well, here's the thing. So at one point, the left was the extreme, and still to some extent they are. The left, anarchists or the Greens or whatever you want to call them, to some extent at one time were the most. Oh man, how do I put this? They were the radical ideologues in the world, and they were the majority. And so I try to explain this to other people, within the liberty movement specifically, as someone who sits on the Libertarian National Committee. I've talked to people who have been with the Libertarian Party since it was its inception in 1971, right, for 50 years. And they'll tell you, like those people that are there will tell you that you have no idea how many federal agents and people that were trying to come in the party and take things over from other parties you will meet. I mean, I had one guy tell me for every 20 libertarians in the Libertarian Party you meet, one of them is some kind of chaos agent. That's what they're there for. That's what they do. That's what the government has done for decades. I mean, if they see a movement that's catching hold, They come in, they infiltrate, and they try to move. You know, we've seen it with people like, look, I had a buddy from North Carolina who got busted for trying to sell gun parts or 3D printed gun parts to what they thought was Mossad or whatever, or not Mossad. One of the terrorist cells. And,
Hamas.
Yeah, Hamas. That's what it was, not Mossad. I don't know why I fucking said that.
I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. He's a cool little gay kid, man, that actually owns a pair of shoes that I made. We won't. I don't want to. Yeah, I don't want to get too far into it. But it come to find out that they were working with these people who they thought were some other people that were actually just fucking federal agents, and that's the norm. I mean, that is the fucking norm. We're talking about, you know, them talking about kidnapping a governor in Michigan, and we find out that 90% of the people that were talking about it were federal fucking agents. This is the norm. This is the norm. And I'm not going to Fed post here on the show, but you know, these people are human people that are here to infiltrate. This is the norm. And so to think that the left was never infiltrated by these same people for years and years and years, and then given the younger generations this doctrine of, hey, this is how you need to operate. I mean, it really makes a lot of sense if you think about it. And then you get into the Frankfurt School, obviously, and stuff like Angela Davis, stuff like that. I mean, it really makes a lot of sense that, hey, maybe you guys have had a subverted movement for a long fucking time, dude. You know what I mean?
Oh, long time. And if you look through the left's own history of their of their movements, and if you look at like the DSA, it's like at every step of the way there's this huge purging of the feds that takes place, and then they try to get new people in, or they'll like jump to a new name, or or something like that, and then they'll get saturated with the feds again. And it'll just become this institutionalized limited hangout. And either it succeeds as an institutionalized limited hangout, like the DSA has, like the Green Party has.
Dude, the DSA is such a fucking mess.
Oh my God, dude. It's like, I mean, it is like the most beautiful testament to self-parody. And I just am so grateful for the internet, because otherwise I would never have known.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But like, oh, dude, it's those fly on the wall moments where you could just peer into that lunacy. Oh man, I mean, it's like the good old Mystery Science Theater days. It really is.
Like, look, libertarian national conventions are not much better. They haven't been for many.
I've been to several, and they're a fucking party.
Yeah, there's great times to be had, but you know, when you got people running up to the mic talking about adopting Dobby the house elf as the national mascot, and I mean, it's not, you know, and they still use Robert Rules of Order, which is just fucking stupid. As somebody who works in national leadership and is very, 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 very good at Robert's Rules and has been learning as much of it as I can for the last 5 years. It's so dumb, dude. It's so stupid. It really sucks. But yeah, man, they infiltrate movements. That's what they do. That's how they operate. That's why they move in secret, man. You know what I mean? And so that takes me back to Nicholas Sarwark.
Oh, you say case in point real quick. The reason why they had to scrap a bunch of the testimony against Julian Assange is because an infiltrator that the FBI sent in to disrupt WikiLeaks was a convicted known pedophile and embezzler and forger, and went and recanted all of his testimony in an Icelandic publication over the summer. And it was like mid-June, late May. But yeah, I mean, that's another instance where we know from the Stratfor releases, we know from multiple WikiLeaks releases that they have sent an army of infiltrators all over that space and into the anonymous hacker space and basically like the entire free speech and the obvious spillovers into the liberty movement as well. Like, this is all documented.
Well, and you know, this is people are getting fucking wise, dude, right? People are getting really smart. They're starting to understand this shit. You see this movement for anarchy, and I think that a really good example of this is the Ross case, right? Ross started Silk Road. They were able to tie it back to him. They were able to track him down. And what happens when they arrest him and shut down the Silk Road? 40 fucking decentralized Silk Roads popped up, and there's no ties. You can't find these people because decentralization is becoming the norm in these spaces, because that's what you've done. You've pushed these people into the black market like you always do, always fucking do. And now they're realizing how to do this without any ties to themselves, man. And it's wild, dude. wild to see what happens. The government, all they do is push people further into the black market and steal your money. I mean, that's it. That's all. That's their whole. That's really their entire basis for everything.
Yeah, so theft and violence. Yeah, That's kind of what they're really good at.
Yeah.
No, it's the people used to talk about like 20, 30 years ago as the Wild West of the internet, and I'm not entirely sure. That's like almost like a pre-civilization.
Sure.
Like when you get into the spaces where what people traditionally thought of as currency no longer exists, where things like nation states or the rules that would govern them and your behavior in this community no longer exist, then I think you're truly in a Wild West era, especially since there's goddamn law hanging out all the time, and the fucking like the Atlantic Council and their fucking the FBI gets to be the Pinkertons in this version of it, but like it's that's where they're at.
Sure.
I do feel like it's more Wild Westy now than back in the day, but I think that's also because we have better quality video, better quality sound. Like it didn't feel like the Wild West on a dial-up modem.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're getting close to the end of this thing, but Will Hobson dropped a $5 super chat, and this is something that I think we need to address. He says, when Julian lands stateside, we find out where they're keeping him and surround it with 1 million people. So there are things we can do. I mean, there really are, and I think that there's enough visibility on Julian Assange that we can really put some pressure on the government. I mean, this can really be a unifying, because there's leftists, there's mutualists, there's ANCAPs, there's all black flag anarchists, libertarians, Democrats, Republicans. There's people all over the political spectrum and philosophical spectrum that don't think Assange should be arrested. But I mean, what do you think we should be doing, man? What do you think that we can do to help Assange?
I've done, on the ground activism for this for a number of years now, and it's so hyper politicized right now, and people are more divided than ever over the jabs and the mandates and whatnot. Like, I think that ultimately I want to like kind of crowdfund a jury nullification experience in the Eastern District of Virginia. Well, by the way, it's going to be Alexandria, Virginia. I used to know the address off the top of my head for the detention center. I don't currently, but I have thrown events there. I had you can fit a lot of people. That's under an overpass, and it has great concrete acoustics. We were there with like 80 whistles.
Oh shit!
And blew out the eardrums of everyone in the vicinity. So yes, that's absolutely doable. I don't think there's a political solution to this.
Sure.
I don't. I think the solution has to come from it's honestly going to take something freaking dumb like a Mandela scale protest.
Sure.
Because the rule of law is gone. When people refer to this trial, they talk about it in terms of Kafka, because that's how absurd it is. They're charging an Australian journalist and publisher with U.S. espionage acts under shit that's already protected by the First Amendment, set in writing. Okay, well, the First Amendment doesn't apply, but all of the rest of our laws do. We've got a rogue. We really got rogue intelligence agencies that are operating out of states, and that's what's driving all of this. The rule of law doesn't mean a damn thing here. So we're not dealing with anything normal. We're dealing with something other than, and so you can't fight it with traditional means. And it's something I've been trying to communicate to these Hutch people for 3 years. Yeah. They don't want to listen.
By the way, the Alexandria detention facility, I think that you're talking about, is 2001 Mill Road, I believe.
That's the one.
Yeah, our the Libertarian National Committee's headquarters just happens to be in Alexandria, Virginia, as well. So we could do that. We could organize something, man. We should.
I'm for it.
Yeah.
I am, because honestly, the American Assange community is really or at least the established one and the acceptable people are all trying to do it the same way.
Right.
And they're trying to do it in ways that have had limited success in very specific cases. And I don't think we get to do that this time.
Sure. Well, man, I think it's crazy. I think that, I think we really should stand up for Assange, regardless of how you feel about him as a person or whatever kind of qualms people have. I think we should stand up for truthful journalism. There's not much of that left in this country, man. And outside of these podcast circles, and I mean, it's pretty much a dead, especially in the mainstream. It is just dead. It's a dead art. And we have somebody like Assange who gave us the real news, man, who really put out honest journalism, unbiased, and dropped facts, let you know what your government was doing to you, and we should be standing up for that, man. And so I hope more people will. Steve, brother, I'm a fan. Can you tell my people that are watching the show where they can follow you, find you, support you, listen to you, all those great things, sir?
Yeah, if you just go to @Slow News Day Show on Twitter, it's got a link to our link tree, which has basically everything else. I encourage people to find the show on Rockfin or Odyssey, because you get to see the full episodes there. There's a whole bunch of content that I can't do on YouTube. There's whole interviews that I can't do on YouTube. So you get the full breadth there. In fact, I think now only like 3/4 of the interviews we've done with Whitney Webb are still on YouTube.
Oh, geez. I try to get Whitney Webb on the show, too. That'll be fun. That'll be a good one.
Hell yeah, dude. Yeah, no, she's fantastic. I love her. I am a frequent contributor on Union of the Unwanted, which is every other Monday. The live stream is on Rockfin. The free stuff drops later in the week. SlowNewsDayShow.com. And yeah, man, thank you very much.
Yeah, of course, dude. Big fan. I'll be definitely checking out your stuff anywhere I can. Definitely Odyssey. I checked out my Odyssey. My Odyssey was growing really slowly, and I'm auto sync, so all my episodes from here go over to Odyssey. And I went over there yesterday and realized I have 500 subscribers on Odyssey. I was like, all right, dude. Thanks, guys. I appreciate it, man. We're doing all right. But I would eventually like to move all the way over to Odyssey. That would be my ideal show. I think, I'm a big fan of Jeremy Kaufman from Library. I think Odyssey's doing great things. I mean, we're talking about a decentralized platform for your content that is fighting for your free speech. I mean, legitimately, Library is fighting the federal government for your free speech with their dollars.
Multiple lawsuits.
Yeah.
The Library, they don't give a fuck, dude.
Jeremy,
they're like, yeah, let's do this.
Have you met Jeremy? Have you met Jeremy Kaufman?
I've been on some calls with him, but I haven't met him in person.
One of my favorite people in the world. We went to a school board meeting in New Hampshire 2 weeks ago, and everybody in the crowd's holding up signs and they're unmasked and shit like that. And Kaufman's in the back going, "You people have addresses. We'll find out where you live." I mean, Kaufman does not give a fuck, dude, at all. He is an awesome dude. I heard somebody trying to call him a Fed the other day. It's like, nah, dude, no, I'm not buying that one. Not buying that one. That's nope. Nuh-uh. Well, brother, I'm a big fan, dude. If you could just give me about 3 minutes to close out this stream so we can get the members only stream going, I'd appreciate it.
Hell yeah, no problem. Thank you.
Yep. All right, guys, another awesome episode of Break the Cycle. Steve's so cool. Go check out Slow News Day Show on Twitter. Find that link tree. Definitely pay attention to his stuff, man. He's giving you some really honest journalism and telling you the truth, man. And it's a lost art these days, man. So I think anybody who's telling you the truth, we need to support. We need to elevate those voices and do what we can to ensure that continues to not die out, at least in our circles, if nowhere else, man. Guys, coming up on the show tomorrow, I am reviving the Conspiracy Couch. Of course, I'll be joined by Dave Casey and my good friend Dan Smots, and we will be featuring Mr. Josh Denny, the most canceled comedian in the world. Conspiracy Couch tomorrow is going to be a lot of fun at 7:30 p.m. Friday, there's going to be no show Thursday. I think I'm doing a call with the Mises Caucus of Florida, which is those are my boys. I love the Florida guys, man. They've had my back for many, many years, so I'm excited to speak with the guys in Florida. But Friday, I will return with a small panel on the Culture War show. It's going to be myself, my friend Clint from Liberty Lockdown. Of course, Top Lobster will be on the show. Daniel 3 from Biblical Anarchy, who's also one of the executive producers of the show, will be on. And, of course, Peter Quinones from Free Man Beyond the Wall. So that is going to be a really fun show Friday. So a couple good panel shows coming up for you guys. Hopefully you'll subscribe, check me out, join the Patreon, do all that great stuff. Become a supporter of my good friend Top Lobster, the man, the myth, the legend, my good friend and partner on Break the Cycle, where you can get this great Ron Paul getting high on the ideas of Liberty sweatshirt that I'm wearing today by using BTC at checkout for a 10% discount. Or you can join the Patreon, Subscribe Star, and the YouTube channel, where you can get into the private Discord server and get all his new gear up to 2 weeks before it goes to the general public at like a 30% discount. Really worth it, guys. I know the holidays are coming up, so go buy some stuff for your family. He's got great gear, man. Some of the best in the whole entire movement, man. Truly, really. And I'm not just saying that because he sponsors the show. I have, I don't know, probably 25, 30 shirts, like at least 10 hoodies, hats, and they're all just super high quality, great stuff, man. Seriously. And of course, executive producers of the show, anthemplanning.com, for all your emergency and crisis planning needs. Check them out today. See what they can do for your business, home, or personal life. They're doing a wonderful job that the government has historically sucked at much cheaper and much more efficiently. Seriously, if you own a business, go check them out right when the show's done. Unless you want to join the channel and come and hang out in the members only chat right after this with my friend Steve from Slow News Day, which is going to be fun. I'm sure we'll get into the nitty gritty there. It's going to be a good time. Will Hobson, thanks for becoming a supporter of the show. I was pretty sure you were already a supporter of the show. Maybe it was Patreon, but welcome again, and thank you. I appreciate you. Guys, I'll see you tomorrow for the revival of the Conspiracy Couch. But until then, don't forget to break the cycle.
Due to legal reasons, I just have to explain. The lyrics of my last song may seem to contain a violent call to action in the verse and refrain, but I just meant it in Minecraft. The helicopter part was in reference to GTA 5 and the things you do. So any violence you commit, I am not an excuse, because I just meant it in Minecraft. A chipper is my friend and he's constantly cold. Accusations of incitement getting totally old. Make your own choices, yeah, you have control, because I just meant it in Minecraft. Obviously I would never advocate force, unless there's due process and a trial, of course. And if you're convicted, we will make you a corpse in Minecraft, just in Minecraft. Nothing I mean, you know it. No product dinners cause it closed from COVID.